So hello everybody, welcome back to another Woodworking Wisdom. Today we're looking at kind of wedding dressings, if you will. So you know, the signs of pointing you which way to go, the kind of table dressings. So you know, it could be seat numbers or the name of your kind of tables. So we're looking at those kind of rustic woody wedding signs. I've already started on one just down here, and we're going to have a closer look at how we can kind of put these together. Now, I've got just a piece of wood and I've cut it into that kind of arrow shape, so it's a kind of pointing arrow. And we've put the ceremony just down on here. So I've printed this off, been on a font site and just printed off what it is that we're going to burn into the material. So there it is, up on top there, and just stuck that down so it's not moving around. And the way we transferred that on was to use some of this, the black carbon paper, or graphite paper sometimes it's called, and just really been over the top of this one and, you know, round the outlines of our letters. I've burnt this in to save time and just need to do the Y on the end of the ceremony there. And you can see I've cut this into that arrow shape. So this is kind of guiding you. If you can imagine one of those guideposts with, you know, all the different signs on there. So this one says ceremony, but you know, you remember them. They have things like lawn games. I've got one here for cocktails. So it's to kind of guide your guests around and, you know, potentially save a bit of money on these kind of wedding bits. So just coming around this, the graphite that's been left on there with the that graphite paper. And just really following that outline. I've got a sharp tip in this because we're going to fill it in a slightly different way. Of course, you could use pyrography. You could draw lots of little lines in there. That's how I like to fill up the letters. You could do lots of little dots, lots of little spots. But I'm going to show you a quick way today, because the odds are, if you're doing these for a wedding, you're going to have quite a lot of other jobs to do. So we want to save you a little bit of time if possible. Okay, so just burnt that in using the ANTEX fire writer, and I've got a sharp tip in there, one that I've made myself by just hammering flat the wire and then sharpening on an abrasive. So we're going to use this little gadget now. This is the SCORCH Marker Pro. Okay, and this is just like a pen. Quite often you just have to load the liquid just by pushing that down onto a piece of paper, and it should start to flow out. So just saturating that, the nib of that pen. It's got a little bit of something on there, so just cleaning that off. Like I say, just saturating this nib by pressing that down onto there. On the other side of this, oops, there's a really useful little kind of paddle thing. That can be great to fill these areas on our sign. It's got a slight tint to it so you can see where you've been. And it's ever such a slight kind of pinkish colour. So just coming around our wording. Being a bit careful not to try and go out the lines. But this little tool works really well. And what this will do, sometimes you can get a little bit of you know, the material in here, the liquid, will kind of spread across the timber a little, so it kind of soaks in, and then you get that, you know, as if you were to put paint on paper or something, you get that bleeding, the kind of running into the material. Because timber is a, you know, a porous material, it will kind of carry the liquid along the fibres, along the grain. So we're really just, you can see how quick and easy this is. Just filling in the gaps on our lettering. And if you've got a lot of signs, this can really speed the process up. Okay, I think we're good with that one. And of course, this doesn't have to be cut like like an arrow. You could just have it on a square bit of timber and burn the arrow in, so you've got the directions through burning the arrow in. I've just cut this on a bandsaw to make it nice and quick and easy. So we want our heat gun, nice easy tool to use. It's literally like using a hairdryer. So we can turn that one on and just start to bring the heat up on our project. Sometimes it takes a little while just to get going, so don't be tempted to you know, stay in one spot too long and really kind of burn the background. Hopefully you can see this starting to kind of darken. So the product takes a little while just to dry out, and then once that's happened, it starts to really darken up and take that burn on. So what would probably take me a good, you know, 20 minutes to do with the pyrography, to fill in all of these letters, we can do quite quickly with our heat gun. So just going back over a couple of areas. And we want that kind of rustic look. We're not going for super perfection on this one. So hopefully you see that just changing colour. Turn your heat gun off. Just be careful where you place that one. I'm going to pop mine on just on top of the piece of timber there, so it doesn't burn. And you can see we've burnt that in. Pretty neat. It's looking all right. So that would go on the pole now. That would be pointing your guests where they go on arrival, and yeah, nice, easy peasy signs. What we're going to do next, let's come back onto the bench here. This could be an idea for your kind of table places. So you could put someone's name, put numbers or whatever it is that you wanted to do. This is going to be a little piece of timber that's going to sit on the table, let people know where they're going to sit. I'm just going to do a number on this one, but like I say, use names and things like that to give people where they're going to sit. So this is just a piece of laburnum. I like this one. It's got a really nice kind of contrast between the sapwood and the heartwood. So we've got this lovely dark brown in the middle, and then that lovely kind of creamy sapwood. So we've cut this from round branch material. Like I say, this was a piece of laburnum. Be careful if you're cutting things like this on bandsaws. Obviously in around there it can roll and grab. So I would really recommend using our Japanese hand saws. Those pull saws, they're great, they leave a great finish, and it's going to it's going to help so you don't have to do too much sanding. You'll get a better finish off of that saw, and it's a little bit safer than using or cutting these on a bandsaw. So definitely recommend a little Japanese hand saw, or even the kind of standard saws, the push saw, just something that's not going to roll the project if you're cutting it on a machine. Okay. So again, just really simply drawing that on, using our fire writer. I've still got that sharp tip on, and this is going to really cut into the piece of timber. It's going to, because we're working on end grain now, so it's going to burn right down into the material, give us a really nice sharp finish. So the heat is up nice and high on the fire writer. And I'm just cutting that in or under the surface of our piece of timber. And I've gone over a couple of times, and I may even just ramp the heat right up so we get that really nice deep burn. It'll look nice and pronounced as well. So straight lines really easy. We're just cutting down through that end grain. And now we're going to come around this curve. What I'm going to do is twist the pyro pen and the kind of project to come right around that curve in one hit. So twisting the pen and the project. Some of these kind of little bits on the end grain are pushing the pen back out. It's offering a bit of resistance. But just keep going until we've got that nice deep burn. And I'm going to revisit that, make sure it's really kind of bold. And like I say, this is the kind of place setting, if you will. So probably better with someone's name on it, but we're just going for a number today, just as an illustration on what you can kind of do. So we've got our number 3. Okay. I'm going to bring that up a little bit closer to the camera. All right, you can still see a little bit of pencil mark, a little bit of scorching. So I would probably just run a bit of abrasive over the top of that, make it all nice and, nice and neat. There we go. So one other thing I wanted to show you. So we're just going to make a little stand that you could put a card in, put a piece of paper with people's names in, or it could be the table name. So these could do instead of our little rounds, but it makes everything nice in that kind of rustic-y wood look that we're going for. So just a bit of dowel. I think that's 8mm dowel. So we've got an 8mm drill bit in our drill. So the bit of dowel's got to match your drill bit. They've got to be the same size. And all we're going to do is cut a piece of dowel. So like I say, 8mm dowel. Just going to hold that in our vise. Japanese pull saw, lovely tool to use. And I'm just going to hold this, pop my thumb up against the piece of timber, and then the side of the saw is actually running onto my thumbnail. Oops. So just popped out the cut there, but a really nice clean finish with this type of saw. And then all we need to do is do a cut the other way. So this is for those people, you know, looking to save a little bit of money, potentially with the all the bits that go along with your wedding. Again, I'm popping my nail just on top of the piece of timber here. We're cutting into end grain now. And we're just going to make a little cut into our dowel. Just go a little bit further so that we can put a kind of place card or something like that in it. Okay, so I've made a little cut just on top here. In fact, if I bring that back over to camera 3, you get a better idea of what we've done there. We've put just a little cut in the top, a little split, and that is to accommodate whatever kind of piece of paper or decorative card, whatever you want to do. So really, really simple. So we've got our 8mm drill bit. So that's the same size as the dowel, and that's a good way just to check. If you just hold the two together, you can feel there's no step on our drill bit. And this has come out almost of a, you know, the beginning of a crotch on the branch. So it's got this kind of unusual shape. I'm going to put our dowel right at the back here. So let me just grab some goggles. Brad point on this. So it's a lip and spur type drill bit, and that's really good. It's going to give us a flat bottom in the bottom of the hole. So just kind of roughly eyeing it up. Maybe I'll bring it in a little bit so it's not backwards heavy when you put your piece of card in. And just get that little spur engaged, and then we're going to drill. Try and keep things nice and straight. And we're not going all the way through. I'm just stopping there to check. We've still got a little bit further we can go. And of course, you could go right the way through. Make sure you've got a board underneath your project so that we're not drilling into our bench. And that's about it, really. You can put a spot of glue in there, and you could put your name place or table name on it. So really quick and easy ideas. Again, you could personalize these. You could put people's initials. You could put the initials of the bride and groom on there using pyrography. So just some little ideas really to get you going, to help you with making all this homemade stuff. And it's a really kind of fashionable thing at the moment, and obviously everyone's kind of counting their pennies, so it could save you a few quid, and they're really quick and simple, and hopefully, you know, that scorch marker really kind of makes things go quicker. So just a few ideas for those of you out there looking to make these things. And there's lots of people, you know, wedding season's coming up, and hopefully that's given you a little bit of an idea or some inspiration to have a go at some of these things yourself. So thanks ever so much for joining us today on our Woodworking Wisdom here at Axminster. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.